Hello and welcome to Who Corner to Corner podcast. My name is Jeff and I am one of your hosts, and I'm joined as always by my good friend Paul.
Yes, hello, that's me. I'm the other host. Yes. We're very excited today, aren't we, Jeff? Very excited.
We are. It's new Doctor Who Day.
Yes.
But before we get into that, we would just like to say hello. If you're one of our regular listeners, thanks for tuning in. If you're new to us, and maybe you are hopping on because the new series has started, and you're looking for a Doctor Who podcast, we're a weekly Doctor Who podcast, and we do episode reviews such as the one we're doing tonight for the Robot Revolution, and we do interviews with and crew from the show.
Yes.
You may have heard of, like Chris Chibnall or Joe Martin or Ray Holman. And we also do interviews. Colin Baker, Sophie Aldred,
Loads of people.
And we do interviews with other people connected with the show, people like our friend Al Dewar from Character Options Toys or Jonathan Wilkins from Titans Comics. And we do a series called Meet the Whovians where we talk to fellow Doctor Who fans about their love of the show. And we also do audio dramas from time to time as well.
Yes, we do.
Where we write scripts and we do our own version of Big Finish stuff. So do give us a follow on our socials. Paul, would you like to tell people what our social addresses are?
Yes, I would love to, if I can remember them. It's usually at WhoC2C on X and Facebook and stuff, but just type in Who Corner to Corner, you'll find us.
Yeah, our main website is whoc2c.buzzsprout.com, and there's all our social links on there. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please give us a subscribe, and we hope you'll come back for more from us. So tonight we are getting together to talk about the first episode of the new series of Doctor Who, Ncuti Gatwa's second series, which kicked off with the Robot Revolution tonight, written by showrunner Russell T Davies. So this was a fun episode, I think. Quite a good kind of an introduction to new companion, and this felt to me very Smith and Jones. It was fun and a bit silly and a bit action packed, and just kind of really enjoyable basically. Paul, briefly tell us what you thought of it before we get into it in a bit more depth.
I thought it was I'm trying to think of something positive to say about it. I like the retro styling of the robots.
Yeah.
I like the way they move. I quite like the fact they were unashamedly robotic robots. Right? If you're going to design a robot on a sketchbook or something, chances are it's going to look like that. I like that shot when the robot spaceship came through and the light came through the blinds in Belinda's room. I like that. I liked Belinda herself. I thought she was great as a really interesting companion. I did like the fact that their relationship at the moment is very spiky. She's not the kind of person who's going to allow somebody to take her for granted, for sure. She's not just going to slide into that, I'm the Doctor's companion kind of role. And I'm really looking forward to how that's going to play out over the rest of the series. That for me was the most interesting part of the entire thing. The rest of it I thought was toast, but still, right, there's that. So let's concentrate on what you liked, because I get the feeling that I'm probably not going to be very popular after this.
So I will say here that we are and try to be a positive Doctor Who podcast.
To be, yeah. Well, at least, but we're honest as well.
We
there's
are
no
honest,
point beating about the bush. If I don't like it, I don't like it, and I'm afraid. Just to get this out there, right? What I felt was I've never been a massive fan of Russell T Davies' Doctor Who. Great that he brought it back in 2005. This still felt like it belonged in 2005 to me. It felt like we'd already seen it, we'd done it, we've been here before. It didn't feel like it had a huge amount of depth about it. It did feel like it was kind of Russell T Davies silly, which is fine. I can do silly Doctor Who. It's not usually a problem. But I think we've just had a lot of silly lately. The last series was just incredibly silly. It was we have a lot of meta stuff going on, a lot of metafictional stuff, fiction about the fiction, the artifice of creating this thing. Oh yes, we know it's artificial, we know it's fun, so we're going to write that into the script and highlight it even more, like you don't know that already. So, and Mrs. Flood is really annoying the pants off me right now. I just don't care who she is anymore. I just want it done, dusted, and go.
Well,
Is she really?
She's either the
There's all kinds of things out there. She's Susan. She's
River.
the Barney. She's every companion that's ever been made. She's some kind of meta god. Frankly, this time she was like the guy from the Fast Show, because Jeff does like the Fast Show, that old 90s sketch show. So she was just like the guy who runs up to the camera and goes, "You ain't seen me, right?" And then runs back again. Seriously, guys, come on. What was that?
We're both big fans of the 13th Doctor era, and for me, Ncuti's first series wasn't quite what I was looking for in the show, and I'll be honest, I was a bit disappointed by it. I felt that there was a lot of potential that was squandered. I felt that the stories didn't work for me overall. I didn't connect with things. I felt that Ncuti was always really good, but I didn't particularly buy the relationship with Ruby Sunday. And overall, I felt myself quite disappointed by it all, like I said. So going into this now, after Joy to the World, which I really overall did like quite a lot, I was very hopeful after the recent trailer. Thought this looked great. Let's hope we get something really good here. And I think for me, this is probably Ncuti's best episode so far, and I think the whole episode was probably better than all of Series 1. And I have just said we're a positive podcast, and now I have just trashed an entire series, which I understand. But like Paul said, if we don't like something, we will say it, but we're not just out to get clickbait.
Rage. We don't do that. Well, we do sometimes, but not like that.
Mostly, no. But a lot of it just didn't work for me last series. So I'm very hopeful.
Season 1 they call it, isn't it?
Yeah, Ncuti's first.
Series 14.
This episode was a lot of fun. Like I said, it was Smith and Jones-esque, light and frothy. But
Smith and Jones-esque there. I must have missed that really cool, because she was in a hospital.
But no, but it was whisking a companion off on a crazy adventure to another destination, the moon, or Miss Belinda Chandra planet here. The robots, a bit like the Jadoon and the slabs or whatever they were called, the black biker helmet, and it just had that sort of feel to it for me.
Yeah, I didn't get that at all, but yeah.
Very Murray Gold's music was very much of that kind of
that was annoying.
Feel.
Sorry.
Paul's never liked.
Not a fan of Murray Gold. It's almost like everything from 2005 has been brought back. And it's just, come on, guys. We've always said on this podcast that Doctor Who should always be moving forward. I love it when it's something different, when it challenges me, when it shows me stories that I've never seen before. That's why I've been a Doctor Who fan since I was like 5 years old, way back in the 70s. I've always loved Doctor Who. I still do. But I just want it to move on. I don't want it to sort of wallow in past glories. I don't want it to ever be like, well, this is the template of what it should always be going forward, because that's what it feels like right now. It's dressed up with lots of frilly stuff, and it's a bit silly and it's a bit fun, and that's okay, but it's still within the framework of kind of, it's almost like Russell T Davies bingo. You could literally just start ticking stuff off from this story.
Yeah, and I don't, I wouldn't disagree with that. This was a very much been there, seen it before type of episode, and and I did enjoy it, and I did really feel that it did more for me than any of the recent ones, but it's not exactly groundbreaking, and maybe in the previous series they was trying to do some groundbreaking stuff, and it didn't quite connect. And I'll be honest, look, I have a problem moving on from the 13th Doctor.
It really does.
In that I can't. And if you're new to listening to us and you feel the same, I'll feel your pain. Unfortunately, Big Finish are coming to the rescue very soon there. But yeah, I liked the production design on this. I love that retro space rocket. For some reason, it reminded me of Doctor Evil's rocket in in Austin Powers. The way it looked like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But Austin Powers is kind of a piss take, isn't it? It's satirical. It's poking fun at a whole genre of kind of 60s.
You're sort of 50s, 60s sci-fi.
Yeah.
So that was fun. I thought
But we had like a retro-looking rocket in the Impossible Planet that was 2006, wasn't it?
Yeah,
David
was,
Tennant's first series.
A long time ago, to be fair. I'm not sure that we can't say or we can't do something again just because we time ago.
It's just,
but I see what you're saying.
And it just lands in the street.
Yeah.
Like,
now, this is the sort of thing where. So stuff I liked. I thought the robots looked good, like you did.
Yeah.
If this is the first time you're listening to us, you're probably turned off already by now.
Sorry, but we are generally positive. Jeff he loves the story clearly. So
I thought the robots looked good, and I quite liked the way that they obviously moved. They were obviously people in suits, and they moved like that, which kind of
I did like that movement.
Classic Who.
Kind of like 90s robot movement.
Yeah, and that was quite cool. And I like the way the faces changed on them.
Like the smiley robots in Smile.
Yes.
That Peter Capaldi episode.
Yeah, but a bit like that.
So we haven't seen that before either, right? Sorry. I won't do it again. I promise. I won't. Stop, Paul.
I did think the way that the rocket turned up and then Belinda was sort of quickly whisked off and disappeared. I was a bit like, yeah, that's sort of very sudden. She didn't really kind of protest it at all. But I try and look at it like, if I was watching with my kids, what would they think?
Oh, they'd probably love it.
They'd love it. They wouldn't question any of it. I've said this before on the podcast. I think it's important that we try to remember that the show is trying to appeal to a really wide range of people.
100%.
It's not just for 50-year-old fans. It's not just for people who became a fan in 2005. But it's for kids as well.
I think you're right. Yeah. Because I think if I'd have been 9 or 10 years old, I'd have probably have enjoyed this a lot more than I did. There's nothing bad in that at all. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's genuine.
If those people don't watch it, there will be no. The show needs new blood to keep going. So I was watching it and I was thinking, I was a bit like, why the hell? Why is she just so willingly gone? Yeah, I'll come to space. And if I wanted to be a miserable git, I could make that into a massive thing and say, the whole episode just hangs on that. But my kids, if they'd watched it, and they didn't because they were in bed, they wouldn't have questioned it, and they'd have gone along with it. And I see what RTD's doing it. You've got a shiny space rocket, you've got big chunky robots, she's getting whisked off on an adventure. It's brilliant, and it should hopefully be the sort of thing that could capture the imagination of younger new viewers. I will say that I was like, why the hell is Mrs. Flood living next door to her? And
she wasn't living there. She was living in somewhere else. Not
she lived next door to Ruby before. And whilst I was,
she did leave at the end of series 1, didn't she?
She was on a roof
disappeared Mary Poppins style.
But her going, you ain't seen me, right? Did make me think of the Fast Show. Brilliant. But
brilliant.
Other people won't know that to make that reference. No. So, there's a part of me that sort of, there's a theory that they're in a, version of the show and they know it's a TV show, and I kind of don't want that to happen, but I'm sure it will be explained.
There is some kind of, like I said, there's that fiction about the fiction, isn't there? Which has been a running thread since the church on Ruby Road. Yeah. So things have, there's been a lot of play on coincidence. There's been a lot of stuff on some, rope science and things that kind of break the boundaries of what we understand as physics and stuff like that. We've had gravity shot at as mavity. We've had that whole thing with this, the demons at the end of the universe and the line of salt, which Jeff doesn't like, by the way, but I do. So hence some of the interesting conversations we have on this podcast. But I just hope. I guess the thing is, I just really hope it pays off.
Yeah,
This story did feel a lot more confident in the outset on it than like Space Babies and a lot of the stuff from the
yeah.
previous
I mean,
season.
this
Shooty
is.
feels like a better, like he's found his doctor. Do you know what I mean?
And what's interesting is that these scripts were probably written
Mm.
alongside or very shortly after series one, probably alongside, and it was all filmed fairly close to that
Yeah,
production.
yeah,
So it's almost like they went straight into it. So it's not like they've gone, oh well, people didn't like this, that, and the other in series one, and they like this, that, and the other.
yeah. They've
Let's
had no time to look at the
they've
feedback,
had
have
no
they?
time.
Really?
So the fact that Shooty feels more, comfortable in it is down to him, not the scripts per se, because
Yeah, yeah.
they were done at the same time. So there was a lot that I did like. I like you were saying, Paul. I enjoyed the relationship with Belinda. It's quite spiky, and that was quite different. I've seen people online saying they would like tension between the Doctor and the companion. I mean, for me, I'm not so sure that is a driving factor for me. Like I really like the relationship between Yaz and the Doctor, for example. Obviously, it was somewhat romantic, but there was a strong friendship there, and Amy and the Doctor and stuff. So I kind of like that they go on these adventures and they're having a good time together. They don't have to be combative, but it's freshening it up a bit that they've got this element of things. But what I didn't like, or hope, or should I say, what I hope pans out well, is the thing about Mundy Flynn and why are they being drawn together? Is it coincidence
Yeah.
and
See,
destiny? We had that with
yeah.
Tenant
They
two
exactly.
being Donna. Oh, it's destiny,
Yeah,
Donna, and then it turned out to be
yeah.
nonsense.
And we've
So
got another impossible
it's another.
special person in the
I'm a big
universe. Blah blah blah.
I'm a big Clara fan, and
Yeah.
I like all of that,
Tried to
but
fix that, but
we sort of don't need it again, perhaps.
no, exactly. We've
So
done it. We've done it to death so
yeah,
many times.
I
What are we gonna get? Just
I hope
just
we get
annoys
something
me.
different, and we've said before, like one of the
Yeah.
things we liked with the 13th Doctor era was that the companions were just people like us. They weren't the most important thing in the universe. They weren't destiny drawing together or all of this stuff. And then, so another thing I liked was what do they call it?
Mm-hmm.
The Schwarp thing, where time was starting to skip.
I don't know what the bloody hell that was, really,
So
but
I'm
yeah,
hoping that,
whatever. I think
something
that's
pays
famous as
off
a
there.
guffin storytelling device that allows some weird shit to happen.
Well, possibly, and I quite liked that they couldn't get back to Earth, and it appears to be
Mm,
gone. And I liked that end shot with all the bits of Earth floating through the air. So there's something,
Black cab, taxi
happening
cab,
there.
Russell T Davis, bingo. Every story, Russell T Davis. I'm sure he squeezed a black taxi cab in there somewhere.
As you probably have detected by now, Paul's not really a big RTD fan, and has largely
That's
hated
entirely
all
true.
of
I
this.
just, I just wish he'd
Uh,
do something that he hasn't already done.
it
That's the
it is
blooming
largely
thing.
true, but
I wish
but
we
I will
didn't
also
have Murray
admit that
Gold
yeah,
and
I
Phil Collinson and everybody else that we just had before and the
yeah.
whole blooming team. It's like, might as well just bring Barry Letts back, or obviously can't because he's passed away, sadly. But,
For
it's
me,
just.
um,
Oh,
the return of RTD was a bit like, and Tennant was. They're not the only thing, the only pair that make Doctor Who work, and Doctor Who has been superior in other tenures, for my opinion. But some fans, they love that, and that's what they wanted. And has it been the grand return? I'm not sure.
who knows?
So I do have high hopes that this series will knock it out the park. I'm very much looking forward
Yeah,
to
same. Yeah, yeah,
Lux with
yeah.
the Mr. Ring-a-ding,
Is that the
coming
next
out.
one?
Yeah, that's
Is
next
that next
week.
episode? Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah, that'll be
So
fun.
I'm quite a big Disney fan, so I quite like the sort
Yeah.
of cartoon coming to life and stuff. So looking forward to that. So yeah, I felt that this was A very enjoyable episode. There was also some great action,
Brilliant.
shootout,
Yeah.
and lots of explosions. The CG work was fantastic. I thought
Those deaths
retro.
were quite grisly, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
They
Yeah,
shot the cat. I wasn't a fan of them shooting the cat. I'm a big cat person. The cat just the cat weirdly meowed after it had been shot. So maybe
Yeah.
it's a special quantum Schrodinger's cat or something. Maybe it's not. It's neither dead nor alive. It's in some kind of superpositional
it's
state.
in some stasis. Yeah. So yeah, overall, I would say I liked it.
I'm
And
Good. I'm
Ncuti's.
pleased you liked it. Actually, I generally am because I'm glad one of us enjoyed it, and I'm hoping that the rest of the series will turn me around. Will it turn me around?
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Let's
I'm going
find
to
out.
I'm going to read some comments from people. So whenever we review an
Okay.
episode, new or old, we like to ask people what they thought.
Yeah.
Angel, who is Power of the Angel, I think Angel's new to commenting to us, so hello.
Hello.
Said, Al, as in Alan, looked so cool. They did a great job on the visual effects for that character.
Oh, that was good. Yes,
Yeah,
he was
I
actually.
must say.
Yeah.
So,
Al Generator.
I'm not a fan of AI, but I'm not going to go into that right
Luddite.
now. So, I like the creative industries not to be destroyed. So having an AI generator in this was quite topical, and I quite like that it became revealed that it was Alan, the old boyfriend. And also I sort of like the Planet of the Incels joke thing.
Yeah, that was
some,
fun, actually.
Some people
Yeah, I like
being
that.
upset
The
about
only
that.
downside in that is we didn't realise how toxic Alan was until we were shown later on in the episode.
Yeah.
They could have set that up initially at the bench. We could have seen that he was a total prick.
Yeah.
And then it would have just, and this is another Russell T Davies bingo again. Don't reveal until after you played all your cards. Almost like there's no, like he's afraid we're going to guess the ending or something. But no, I just like to,
Anyway.
it's just a case of respect your viewers' intelligence.
But don't forget
you know?
children are watching as well, so
Well, yeah, but you're going to show them that anyway in flashback. Just show them at the
true.
start of
They
it.
could
They're
have
not
done,
going to forget. I know that everyone believes that we've got the memories of a goldfish or something, but most people have more than 2 brain cells between their ears. Not me, obviously. I've only got the one and it's very, very old, but still.
So Angel says, I think it was a much better season opener than Space Babies, and I love the off-planet feel, and I love the timey-wimey of it all. Rich Harmon, who frequently comments for us, says, very good start.
Hey, Rich.
Good fun story to start the series, carrying on the vibe from last series. I'm a little bit bothered about recycling elements from the past, so obviously, i.e. the coincidences, polish, bit gadget, bit like that.
Gadget. Oh, yeah, it was like that, polish.
A lack of
Polish.
originality. Good fun, though. Solid 8. Actually, I will say, the thing of the robots only not hearing every 9th word was...
That was bollocks as well, to be honest. Why would
bit.
robots not hear every 9th word?
Yeah.
There's no sense to that. There's nothing. It just allows the Doctor to communicate in some kind of hidden code. I mean, it would make more sense if it was prime numbers or something, really. That would, to me, be a much
robots,
more believable kind of way of burying something, because,
it
prime
made
numbers
me
are awkward in computing.
made me think of Chan, that one in Utopia, though.
Saying can after every sentence.
Yeah, there's like
but that again is forgivable, because that's a linguistic culture. It's almost like a cultural thing, even. There's a culture, it affects your language, and even when that language is translated, there's elements of that still bleed through, which give that culture a kind of a solidity, almost like a reality. There's something there, there's a history there. Whereas this, to me, all feels very shallow. It's very, if you scratch at the surface where it's all nice and glossy and brilliant, and, it just speeds you along at quite a lick, and the plot kind of makes sense, there's a logic to it. But I feel if you scratch it too much, it will just fall away, and there's actually nothing underneath it at all. Whereas, personally, I just like my stories to have a little bit more depth. And, Doctor Who can do this. I'm not saying she do it every time, but those are the stories that I personally prefer. So,
well, that's fair enough. The brothers Mahoney say, underwhelming, not as bad as Space Babies was, but still just treading water. So potentially interesting stuff, but didn't care for the antagonist, and Belinda's casual reaction to robots rampaging through her apartment felt off. The Howdy Beans podcast says, my thoughts on New Who. That was great. I enjoyed it way better than the Christmas special. They've definitely upped the game here. The new companion actually has character and I care about her. And I love the 60s sci-fi feel to the episode. So great. Acquainted Guy says, a pretty good season premiere, a bit fast in parts but still enjoyable. Belinda is amazing and she's looking to be an all-time favourite companion. The sets and CGI were really great. Dana K, very fun and enjoyable. Verada is great as Belinda. Bertie Odell says, woohoo, I liked it. A vast improvement on Space Babies. Not a classic, but I am intrigued by this year's potential running plot. It looked fantastic. I love the sci-fi design, and I'm loving the Doctor and Belinda together. Nate says, a solid opener. Absolutely adore Verada as Belinda, and her dynamic with the Doctor is interesting and refreshing. As someone who is a little bored of Murray's music, some parts really shone.
Yes, thank you. I'm not the only one.
And a big shout out to the weird visuals when the certificates touched. Yes, I liked that. Benoit Blank's bestie says, very good. Belinda is shaping up to be a real fun companion. The robots were awesome, and I adored Polish. Robert Siniki has just simply put a GIF here, and I'm going to try to bring this GIF to life. Well, I like it a lot, which is from Dumb and Dumber.
What was that?
I hope you enjoyed that. I like it a lot.
Jeff's starting his own memes now.
Someone who's just got a spider for their icon, who's at Universal Event. Great fun, decent opener, but did he have to? Really? And there's a cat emoji. Jim Allenby says, loads of fun. Loved Belinda from the start. Great SFX, a coherent and well put together plot. Lots of tantalising glimpses at the future arc of the series, and Ncuti on fine form. Much better than Space Babies. And then Bex says, apart from Mrs. Flood being cryptic again, I thoroughly enjoyed it, but they either need to reveal Mrs. Flood in the next episode or get over it. I'm going to go with a lot of people don't like Space Babies all that much. So there was overall quite positive, I would think, there.
Yeah, that's good. Actually, I like that.
That's good. And having looked at other... and I must just... Sorry, we have a little group chat on Twitter. And in here, some comments from people... Chris Russ says, loved it, already loved Belinda and the dynamics she brings to the Doctor. Phil Newman says, really enjoyed it too. Belinda is fab, the effects and visuals are great. Only one question, how did Belinda know what the TARDIS was? Yeah, that was a good point. Tony Filer says, cracking start, good vibe, daft robots, a modern villain, boom. Matt Price says, I preferred that immensely to half the episodes from last season. Fun, surprisingly hard-hitting with its themes, and Belinda is decidedly different from past companions. I give it 8 out of 10. And then this one is from Orinoco McGee. Loved it. I enjoyed it more than the previous series starting episode. Belinda, I adore her. Sorry, Ruby. We will be back next week to take a look at Lux, and so we'll be asking for your thoughts on the episode when it airs or streams. So we hope you've enjoyed listening to this. Do let us know what you think of the episode, Robot Revolution, and we will catch you next time on Who Corner to Corner podcast.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you next time. Ciao.